Welcome to the Magic Divorce Club podcast. This is your space to successfully navigate your divorce with confidence and create a roadmap to the life of your dreams. I'm your host, Hannah Harvey. I'm the author of How to Divorce Sober, and I have helped thousands of women to process the trauma of divorce and step into an exciting future. Please like and subscribe because this really helps my little podcast to grow. And if you would like more from me, you can subscribe at magicdivorceclub.substack.com for a host of other support tools. Hello and welcome to this week's Magic Divorce Club podcast. It's me, Hannah, and today I want to talk about what divorce did to my body. More specifically, how I feel about my body and how I treat my body and all that kind of stuff. So nobody warns you that divorce can completely change how you feel about yourself, and especially about your body image, how you think you look, how you think your body looks. And it's one of those things that on top of everything else, you could really do without worrying about this. But it's actually one of those things because it's our body that we can control. So in a time when everything feels completely out of control, doesn't it make complete sense that you might start to obsess about the way you look? Because at least that is under your control. So for me, it looked like what I call the misery diet. So to begin with, I just pretty much stopped eating. And I don't feel like it was on purpose as such, but yet I also know it totally was. So my weight up until we got divorced had fluctuated, going up and down, and I was like, I must quit drinking because that'll help me lose weight. And then it kind of did, but then it didn't. And then I had a baby, and then I decided, right, now I'm really going to take it seriously and lose a lot of weight. And by the time we did split up, I was at probably what I would consider, in inverted commas, my best weight, because I felt like it was a number I liked on the scales. And after we split up, I just continued to lose weight because I was like, if I can just be thin enough, I will be able to find someone else. Because obviously when you go through divorce, you suddenly get hit with this whole thing of like, God, the last time I dated anyone, I was in my 20s. And I kept getting this sense of like, I'm too old now. I'm too old for love. No one's going to want me. I'm past it. I was 37. This is ridiculous stuff. Was I 37? Yeah, something like that. And my brain was just telling me all these stories about how I need to look a certain way because otherwise no one is going to love me. If my own husband was done with me, then I better do something really serious in order to find somebody else to love me and to take me on with all of my baggage that I now had. I don't know why I was thinking these things. I guess it was down to this just sheer panic of how have I found myself here, and absolutely zero self-esteem or belief in myself that I was enough without anybody else. I didn't need anybody else. What I needed to do was find myself and to look after myself and to love myself. But back then, I had put all of my hopes and dreams in somebody else making me feel better about myself. Everything was external. So therefore, I needed to lose weight. I needed to make sure I didn't have wrinkles. I needed to get my teeth done. I needed to make sure my boobs weren't weird. Like all of this stuff because what if I end up on Love Island? Or as if, actually, I tell you what though, I did apply for Married at First Sight. Fell for that, didn't I? So glad I didn't after it's been cancelled. But we just are kind of in this societal time warp of like, that's the most important thing, especially if you've spent the last however many years doing your very fucking best to keep a marriage together, because that was the most important thing. It stands to reason that when that falls apart and you leave it, that you're suddenly like, shit, I need another one of those, otherwise who the fuck am I? Sorry, I'm swearing a lot about this. I think I'm a bit riled up about it. So there was this whole striving for perfection when I first left, but I was also pretty sad and miserable, so I wasn't really eating anyway. It wasn't hard, if you know what I mean, because I was just not feeling great. And then you'd see people and they're like, wow, you look amazing, which is girl code for skinny. And you like the compliments and you need that boost of endorphins and dopamine because it's miserable, like you're miserable. And then once things started to settle, the opposite thing happened, where stress made me want to comfort eat, and because I hadn't been eating enough, I would then go the opposite extreme and just binge. And pretty soon I had developed a bit of an eating disorder, I would say. It was definitely disordered eating, where I was either not eating or massively comfort eating, and then, you know, one thing leads to another, and yeah. But there was definitely disordered eating going on there. And if you are experiencing this, know that you're not alone. I would almost certainly guess that many, many women going through divorce develop disordered eating. And I think there's loads of things that lead to this. I think some of my reasoning was I was addicted to drinking for a while and then stopped, but never fully dealt with why I was drinking that much. I became addicted to the chaos in my marriage and trying to save that and being like, I don't flipping know what I thought I was, but I was like taking great pride in being able to withstand the most awful situations and just carrying on. And being addicted to that codependent lifestyle. So when that was taken away, it's then like, okay, what's the next thing I can be addicted to? And I guess it's obsessing over how I look, and then either not eating, or, you know, you get to the end of a cycle or something stressful happens and you're like, I need to eat the entirety of, I don't know, Co-op was probably the most convenient place when I buy one of all the things that I loved and eat them all and make myself ill. So that then led to, it's my way of self-soothing and gaining weight, because once I'm in that cycle, I find it hard to get back out of again. So you'd have like strict diets that last for a few weeks, and then when something new or complex comes along that's stressful, it then leads back into this binge cycle, an addiction to shit food that does you absolutely no good whatsoever. And of course, all of this is underlined by the fact that there are wounds that need healing. Like, all addictive behavior is, I feel shit about something, and then the brain goes, well, the last time you did this, it made you feel better. And that could be cocaine, it could be drinking, it could be watching mindless TV for hours, it could be eating a whole pack of donuts. Like, there are so many things that we can get addicted to. It could be texting your ex and creating a new drama, you know? Like, there are many, many, many ingenious ways that the brain comes up with in order to get the fix, that hit of the chemical it wants, so that in that moment you feel better. And then as soon as it feels better, it then goes back into craving again. I want that hit again. And the cycle carries on. And so what are the wounds that are making us want to do these things? And it's the rejection. It's the worthiness piece. Like, am I a good enough person? Do I feel worthy to actually take care of myself, to love myself, to take responsibility and go, actually, all of those things are harming me. They're not actually doing me any good. It's that sense of safety. Do we feel worthy enough to feel and create safety for ourselves? It's very complex, very tricky, and it's probably something we will continue to need to work on, maybe for the rest of our lives. I don't know. Like, maybe there'll become a time where you feel really steady and stable and safe and you don't sabotage yourself. That's the dream, right? But it's a constant learning curve. And every time we work on this stuff, it builds that self-esteem. And it starts to go, maybe I can replace this pattern with a different pattern, with a different way of feeling about myself. But it's like we've got to take those steps, those first initial steps, to notice what's going on, to shine a light on why, and then to create a new reality for ourselves. It's really hard, especially when we've got everybody around us constantly telling us how we're supposed to look, how we're meant to feel, how much we're meant to weigh. It is really difficult, and one that we as a society need to work out and not pass on to our kids. Because these feelings are going to keep showing up over and over again, and our job is to work out how to soothe ourselves without reverting back to things that are potentially damaging. Whether it's not eating food or eating food, the wrong food, or just generally using food as a thing that will heal us in some way or other, because it's there to keep us alive and to help us function, but it's not going to heal your broken heart. It's not going to make you feel like you're enough. It can't. It's a donut, or whatever else is your crutch. Now, this is something I continue to work on for myself, but what I do know is that when I fill myself up with love and compassion, all the stuff that we do on a Monday in Magic Mondays, when I do that, it makes a huge difference to how I treat myself. Looking after my body becomes so much easier when I stop treating it like either a project or something to punish, and actually treat it like a relationship. Like this amazing thing that we get to live inside of. Why we're such dicks to it as well. Our minds and our bodies, it's like, I don't know, it's so sacred, and yet it's probably the thing we take for granted the most. So treating it as this like sacred relationship between our spirit and this vessel that is holding our spirit. And instead of punishing it because it's the thing that's on the outside, the thing that's holding us, instead of always trying to fix it and make it different based on what is the thing this month that we're meant to be doing to look right, instead of shrinking it so it takes up so little space, what about if we just care for it? What does that mean for you? What does it mean for me if I were just to say, these are the things I need to do in order to care for this amazing vessel that I get to live in until I die. This thing that helped me birth my children. Getting emotional just thinking about it. I wasn't expecting that. But it's just such a huge topic, especially when your heart has been broken, when your home has been wrecked. So that's what we're working on this month. And it's more important than I even realized because I've started crying. Body confidence after divorce is huge. And I don't want anybody in my community, in this community of ours, to feel like they don't love it. Because it, like I say, it is this sacred space that we get to live in. And it has done so much for us. And now it's our turn to take care of it in return. And the loop of that is just infinite. When we look after ourselves from the inside out, everything on the outside gets easier. So this month we're looking at that. Every Monday I'll be taking you into a beautiful meditation where we will fill up with love and kindness. And I want to do some work as well around forgiveness. Because we can kind of beat ourselves up and be like, I should be more like this, I should be more like that. And then we beat ourselves up for saying we should be this and we should be that. And it's like, let's just put everything down. We can forgive the bits of our bodies that we need to and just start to fill it with love instead. And then let's see what happens this month when we do that, rather than obsessing over it or punishing it or fixing it or trying to tell it what to do, you know? Expensive treatments are not going to change how you feel about yourself. And when we get to the workshop at the end of the month, I'll tell you exactly what I've done, what I have spent, and how little it did to actually change how I feel about my body. Okay, I'm saving that behind the paywall because it's a bit embarrassing for me, but I want to be really honest about this stuff because women going through divorce are the most susceptible to being brainwashed into thinking you need a boob job, or you need to get your teeth done, or you need all the Botox, or you need to take the injections and lose a ton of weight. Like, if this is what you want to do, great. But I really want you to come at it from a point of, I already love me and my body, not a place of, I need to change because I'm not good enough. Feels like a good place to stop. Okay, so if you would like to come into the Magic Divorce Club this month, I would love to have you. Let's talk about this stuff. Let's be honest and open about how we feel and work together in the magical space that we have in order to just feel better. Okay? What would change if your body wasn't something to control, but someone to look after? Have a little think about that. And then I'll speak to you again next week. And drop me a line anytime. I'd love to hear what you're going through at the moment, what stage you're at in your divorce, how I can help, what kind of topics do you want me to cover in the podcast, in the Magic Divorce Club. Just get in touch. I am here for you. Thank you so much for listening, and if you could subscribe and leave a review, that would be amazing. For all of your tips and tools, head over to magicdivorceclub.substack.com and you can find everything that you need there. You've got this, and I've got you.